Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of BIM Pure Live. I am your host, Nicolas Quetelier. I am an architect, a BIM specialist, and the founder of BIM Pure. We've got a great episode today for you. If you're watching live today on June 5th, 2024, you can say in the chat where you are watching from. And meanwhile, a couple of things to announce and mention. First, thanks a lot to Enscape for sponsoring this episode of BIM Pure Live. I've been using Enscape since 2017, so I am thrilled that they're sponsoring this. What I like the most about Enscape is the simplicity, how simple it is to use when using with Revit. And they recently released the new Enscape 4.0 with a bunch of new features, including new people and vegetation assets, NVIDIA denoiser. They now have support for Rhino 8.3. They have a UI reskin, so if using Revit, you will see the icons and the UI is different. We have ray trace artificial lights. We have improved global illumination. We have support for new VR headsets as well. So if you're using the newest VR headsets, it should now work, including the HTC Vive Pro 2 and the Meta Quest, and improve Revit work sharing optimization. And if you're using also V-Ray, since V-Ray is part of Chaos and they've merged together, you can bridge your Enscape models to V-Ray. So that's Enscape. It's super fun and easy to use with Revit. Most people know it at this point, right? But I'm very happy they're sponsoring this. So thanks a lot to Enscape. Learn more at enscape3d.com. And this is the summer of BIM 2024. BIM Pure is a membership-based website to learn BIM and Revit and other tools. And we have a lot of new content this summer for all members. So if you're already subscribed as a member of BIM Pure, you pay the annual subscription, you already have access to all of this. Else, check it out. We currently have a promotion on your first year. Go at bimpure.com/summer2024. The offer ends on June 10th. 20% off on the first year. The link is in the video description. And the new content that we have, the Revit Doors collection, available to all for download. A mini course by Mercedes Kiri called Culture Beats Technology. Mercedes from Slantis is brilliant. And this is a non-technical course about culture, leadership, and how to foster tech and innovation in your company. And next, we have a series of live master classes about ACC, Autodesk Construction Cloud, to work with your Revit project. It's not just me. I'm working with Dan Warren and Benjamin Zfor on this specific series. These are live events. You will learn about the basic Revit setup on the cloud, how to set up Revit links, the coordinate system, working with permissions, teams, clash detection, and coordination between architecture, structure, and MEP. So if you're struggling to use ACC the proper way, join this live masterclass. It's for all BIM Pure members. So just subscribe to BIM Pure and get all of this. And on September, we'll also release Getting Started with Revit API mini course. And this is the new content, but also our back catalog of Revit courses, Basics, Design, Manage, Hierarch Families, downloads, the Pro template, access to the Gardens community, access to our archives of live sessions, constant new updates. Get everything. There's one price points. Subscribe for a year. bimpure.com/summer2024. Currently, if you're watching live, there's a deal. If you're watching the replays a month after, maybe it's over. Sorry about that. So summer of BIM 2024. Okay, that's my little promo. And we have a very special guest today. His name is Claudio Meireles. He's currently based in Sofia in Bulgaria, originally from Portugal. And he's a marketing guy. He's now currently the head of communities, influencer, and affiliate marketing at Chaos since 2023. He worked at multiple companies doing as a content marketer, a content marketing manager, affiliate specialist, head of marketing. And he is also the author of a book called The Key to Start Your Online Membership, in another book that he's currently writing about communities. So let me bring you Claudio, how are you doing, man? Oh, Claudia, I think you're muted. Can you check this out again?
Hel-
Okay.
Hello, Nicholas. Hello, hello.
Oh,
Thank you
excellent.
for having me here. I'm doing great, and you? How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So this is different from usual. So typically we have like BIM experts and kind of EC tech nerds. Now it's different. We have someone from marketing and a community builder. Totally different, but super interesting to me. And first, can you tell us about your background? How did you get started in marketing? And then I want to know how you ended up at Chaos Enscape. So for those of you who don't know, Enscape merged with Chaos. What was it, a couple of years ago now?
Yes, it was already a couple of years ago. Actually, when I joined Chaos and Enscape were already one and only merged
Hmm.
by that time. So it has already been some time. And instead of Chaos, we feel all like it's all one team and that we always have been together because as you can see, even Enscape and V-Ray right now having the bridge, you can see how complementary both these companies are into one right now. Uh, but you asked me how I have started into marketing. Did I understood well?
Yeah, I want to hear about your background, how you then end up at Chaos and what you did before that, and how you ended up with an interest in communities.
So that's a very long story. That's a very
Okay.
long story, but I will summarize it for you. So I started my professional career when I was 18, starting my own company. At that time, which I had the chance to exit three years later. It was on the fashion industry, not related with communities or with marketing whatsoever. But what came after that was a company inside of the university called CM CEM Junior Consulting. And inside of that company, we were trying to help develop young professionals inside of the university to provide them professional experience on what they were learning into classes. And the key part over here is that the heart of that project of that company were the people. And that's when I personally started having this passion for how can people, a group of people coming together, evolve and making an impact in other people's lives. So that's from where my interest from community came from. We over 5 years on that company, 500 people passed inside of it, and their futures got influenced, and they are nowadays all over the world working and having amazing careers, and all started there, and all started by the help and the support of their peers. But that was already, let's say, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. It was already some time ago. But fast forwarding this, how did I arrive to chaos? Uh, Chaos appeared last year in my life as an incredible opportunity to be able to impact the lives of artists, to be able to really do something different for this industry. That was the opportunity that came. And once I saw that opportunity of chaos, I didn't thought twice. I didn't thought twice in joining chaos because what chaos provides it's an incredible community of artists that are a little bit all over the world, and they provide all the resources, all the programs, and an incredible team to impact the life of those artists. So that's how I arrived to chaos, and here I am.
Yeah. And you're traveling a lot around the world to
Yes.
create, like, so how does that work? Do you kind of go to events that are already there and you're bringing chaos with you, or you're organizing events from scratch?
So yeah, it's true. You have been seeing me traveling quite a lot in the recent months. So those travelings they happen for several reasons. Not only events that we organize from scratch, but also events where we are participating in. But to get this back a little bit, we at Chaos Communities we have 10 different programs that we have built from scratch to support, nurture, and inspire our communities. And those programs are happening a little bit all over the world. And at Chaos, we don't only start managing those programs by distance, but we actually go to these different locations. We connect with our community in person, and we are there to execute those programs. So that's why you see me traveling quite extensively around the world, and spending some time, 1 week in Japan, another week in South Africa. It's to execute on those programs.
Yeah, so you sent kind of slide deck with a few images of the events, but before going there, so you told me when we chatted before you showed it, you're writing a book about you. So you're so passionate about communities that you're actually writing about it. And the book is going to be called, it's not out yet, but it's going to be called The Heartbeat of Creativity. So why do you think communities are the heartbeat of creativity? And how did you get so interested in the concept of community?
So that's true. The heartbeat of creativity. That's the name of the book that I'm writing, and the heartbeat of creativity was also the name of the presentation that I have been having with Chaos for the last 1 year in several stages. And why the heartbeat of creativity? Why creativity is why the community is the heartbeat of creativity? Because first of all, the community, it's all about connecting, supporting, and advancing together. And when we are talking about creativity, we are talking about different perspectives and different people coming together in order to make something that can go forward. Therefore, that's from where it comes from, that name. Initially, it started as a just a fancy name for the presentation, but for the keynote. But it started to gain its meaning all over the year, and by connecting with others after those keynotes, connecting with the artists, they all saw their own representation on that name. I never expected that name to actually reasoning so much with the people, but yeah, and everyone started asking, what does that mean? Why the heartbeat of creativity? And they started giving their own definitions on all over the year, and now it's turning into a book.
Nice. So when will the book be available? Later this year?
Later
Not
this
sure.
year, early next year,
Okay.
That's the goal of it, and it's a book about communities, community building. I'll be writing a little bit about my own personal journey in building communities in a modern way, because building community is not only about building a Facebook group, or about building a Slack or a channel to connect with others. It's about making more for the people, and I want to bring more on that book about it.
So I have lots of questions about your tips and advice on how to build communities. But I think it would be interesting if you can show a few of the events or from a little slide deck of, so we've been all around the world, being
Sure.
part of events, and if you can describe what these events were exactly. So
Yeah,
let
sure,
me
sure.
let me
Of course.
switch to your screen. So we're now seeing your screen.
So let me show you here a little bit more. Here, let's talk. Let's start with Japan. Actually, in Japan, what we are doing actually in Japan, we are doing a lot of things. One of them is that we have partnered with Wacom, and THU Trojan Horse was a unicorn to invest in a city to become a creative hub, Kaga City, and that investment that Chaos is joining with Wacom and THU translates into several things that are happening on that city to foster creativity, to build all the infrastructures to build a creative hub, a community that can in the future have a bigger impact in artists. On that creative hub in Kaga, we have organized, THU has organized a storytelling bootcamp last year, and that's where you see me here on this bootcamp. You see me here next to the mayor of Kaga, which has actually closed the agreement with us, and actually he made the whole city come around to collaborate with us. And you see also Christopher Nichols on that picture. Is from Chaos, from is the producer of CG Garage at Chaos as well. And there you see 120 artists from a little bit all over the world. Those artists, they came from a little bit from everywhere, including the sorry, the ambassador of Portugal that was there and in that event. But that's not only what we are doing in Japan. In Japan, we are also collaborating with the studio called AK Virtual, where we are developing a very cool project with a VR project with local Japanese students. We're integrating the technology of Chaos, and those students are building a very cool project that will be revealed by the end of the year. That's a little bit about Japan, but I was telling you about Cape Town before. In Cape Town, I was recently there at the Cape Town Animation Fest, where I was presenting our program called Partners in Art. Partners in Art, which is a program where we invest in projects of artists, of 3D artists. We provide licenses, we provide mentors and connections with the industry, and of course, financial grants as well. And I was there in Cape Town to present this special program that we have, which you can find also more at the site of Chaos as well. And yeah, in a nutshell, that's a little bit it. I believe you might have more specific questions around that.
Yeah, so communities, there's a part that can be online, then there's a part that is real events, like you've just showcased. So how do you combine the two? So are these kind of two different ventures, or they're kind of linked together? How do you see that?
So they need to complement each other. You need a certain balance. Uh, if you look, so before during the pandemic a few years ago, the events they stopped by that time, and
Yeah.
we were all used to go to concerts, to conferences, and everything went online. So the balance was disrupted by the time. We were not used to that. So we went from one extreme of doing everything in person to do everything online. But that also built an opportunity for nowadays to build a balance, because if there is something that the pandemic changes, the way how we interact with the others, the way how we work, because nowadays we work from home. We don't work anymore from the office. Either we work hybridly or we work from home. So in order to connect with people in communities, we need to do it in both ways: to go to the events, but also to have the events happening online, like this very same show that you have here, the BIM Pure. It's a fantastic way to connect with the community. We
Yeah,
just need to keep the
I
balance.
guess I guess I didn't see it as building a community when I started doing this. To me, it was just all the events, the BIM events were canceled. So I did, oh, you know what? I have a YouTube channel. Why not try to do something? And it was during the
And
pandemic,
it
as you've said. And then, like, to me, the fun of it is like the community aspect, like, well, meeting all these smart people, but doing it live and getting comments and good questions from people, the audience, and seeing the reactions and the insights from everybody.
would you say that how do you feel? Let me put the question now back to you.
Yeah.
How do you feel to have an episode of the BIM Pure in person at a conference in Canada, where you are? How do you feel to make it in person, to have this conversation in person, the audience in person? How did it feel for you?
It would be fun to do so, yeah. It's the like
That,
logistically, I would have to. It's more of a setup, but
yes.
yeah, like I've thought of organizing an actual conference, physical conference. Um, but I think I just have to decide and finally do it. But it's been in my plans for a while.
But that's the very fun part. Many times
Yeah.
in a conference, and I got the opportunity to go to many conferences during the last year, this year, and in conferences, usually community conferences, I look at them 300, 500 people max. You need to keep something small. I'm not talking huge conferences of 6,000 people. But when you think about 300 people in a conference, it's a lot. But on YouTube, I have watched some of your videos recently, and we're talking about 3,000, 7,000, 10,000 people. Imagine what it is to be in a room to have this
Yeah.
conversation with 10,000 people on the crowd. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, but that's scary at the same time. And you can see the real impact that the online can really bring. You can touch 10,000 people in all the corners of the world. And that in person, you cannot do it. So that's why I'm saying about balancing
Yeah,
both.
it's pretty wild. Yeah, on some of the most viewed video, I think, yeah, if you put all the people that watch it in a room, it would be a lot of people. You could, like, on the
Yes,
most viewed, you could fill in the arena out of people.
exactly.
Um,
That's
yeah, I
crazy.
wanted to show you're seeing. So let's talk about some of your online initiatives. So right now you have like the main outlets for you is a Facebook group. So in what's going
Yes.
on, how do you keep a good Facebook group where people are actually active and it's actually interesting?
So that's a fantastic question. Thank you. About the Facebook group, because I usually say that the Facebook group is not only about the leader of the community, and in this case it could be chaos, but could be an individual community, the leader of the community posting and people reacting. It's what I call more of a ghost or lead generated community. Uh, what I believe when it comes to building a community on Facebook groups is to nurture your community. And nurturing a community, you need to provide to your community ways for them to be interacting with you. And that's not necessarily by you posting. It's by connecting with the community members for them actually to generate that content. In order to do that, what have we done at Chaos Campus Facebook group, which is our own exclusive Facebook group? We turn it into a real campus. We started developing, we started partnering with the studios around the globe. We partnered with Heldor Studio, and we launched the Keeping Realistic show every single week. There is the person from this studio called Theodor Vladov. He goes live on our Facebook group and he reviews the renders that the artists have uploaded on the group. He provides them feedback, mentoring, live. He's every single week, 1 hour and a half there, providing them ways to improve lighting, to improve their renders. I'm not the technical person, but I can actually see during those lives there are around 100 something people, 180 people, 300 people, 80 people. That depends on the weeks. But you can see that box of comments. People keep talking and keep trying to help other artists. And what we saw on the group was that the artists they started actually to providing feedback to each other. They started to help others to improve their work. And we saw on our Chaos campus group that me myself from Chaos, I barely post on that group, but we have on a monthly basis around 1,000 user generated content on the group. So, and when you're talking about user generated content, I'm not talking spam. I'm talking actual renders that are being posted there, questions. How do I improve this? How do I do that? And this comes out of us Chaos trying to nurture our community through these partnerships. We have a live podcast every single month that happens live in the group as well. We have a portfolio review show
And
as well.
talk to me like the podcast. Is it someone that you hire for this for this, like someone well in the community that hosts that podcast? How
So
does that work?
we partner with the Creative Lightning, the studio Creative Lightning, and Nikopoulos. He started collaborating with us, and he started organizing the podcast. That's how it started. We are already going on the 20 something edition. It's already going on for many months, and Nikos invites every single month a studio partner and interviews it. Usually they are big names on the industry. It's made over there on the group, and it's exclusively access to the for the it's exclusively available for the community in the Chaos Campus Facebook group. But yes, the way how we do it is we find the person to partner with, and yeah, the person is hosting the podcast in this case.
Talk to me about the different platforms. So you mentioned. I'm curious, why did it end up as a Facebook group? What about like forums on a message board, or it could be a LinkedIn group, it could be on Instagram, it could be a Discord, it could be something else. So, how do you decide which platform to pick? And in your
So,
opinion, currently, what are the best options for people interested in building a community?
so it all depends on the which type, what's your goal with your community? What do you want to achieve with it? A Facebook group, for example, it allows you to host shows like this. But for example, if you want to build a community in terms of a platform where you want to provide them support, let's say that you have a company and the tech company, and you want to provide technical support to your users, but you want to offload a little bit your customer support. A forum is the perfect way to do that. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because on a forum you can find the questions, you can provide the questions. But if you want a more direct contact with your community, for example, a Discord channel, it's one of the best ways to go. So I would say that it's all about what is your goal, how do you want to connect with your community, and what you want to achieve by building that community. Support, influence, nurture. That's a very big question that you need to do to make yourself. And of course, it's possible to have all of those communities running in parallel. At Chaos, we also have our own forums running. We don't only have the Chaos Campus Facebook group, we also manage the Chaos Vantage group, the Chaos Phoenix, and the Hablamos Chaos in Spanish as well. On our community team, we also have our Spanish specialist, Ricardo Ortiz. So we run several communities in parallel, several community groups, let's say it.
So, talk to me, and maybe I'm asking for myself too, because I have in the BIMPer membership, we have an exclusive community for the members only, where generally speaking, the idea is I don't have enough time to answer all the questions I get by email. So if you're part of the community now, I can spend some time with it. And talk to me about the idea of a private community for people that are paying, let's say they have an Enscape or a V-Ray license, versus something open to everybody. How do you deal with that? What do you think about this?
That's interesting. Let me tell you, because now we are talking about two aspects that I'm personally experienced with: memberships and communities. At
Mm-hmm.
Chaos, specifically, our communities are all they don't have a paid aspect on it. You have access for free on it. But let's imagine that you are adding a paid wall to a community. It's all about access. For example, if you have a more public community that you don't have an access to it, that people can access the community freely, you lose a little bit the quality of the content. You cannot maintain the quality of the content. You can receive 10,000 people, but it's very hard to grow in terms of quality. But those people, they don't have access to you. They have access to the content that you are posting over there. That's it. When you are having a private community, you are providing people um, access to you, access to your expertise, access to your
Mm-hmm.
person. You are actually taking out a layer by adding the paywall there. So I would
And
say that is beneficial for the people, but that depends on which business we are talking about.
yeah, like they serve different purpose. You could have both in theory. You could have kind of a public, something open to everybody, and
Yes,
more of a private part. And it's all about access. Yeah, that makes sense.
yes.
So,
But I would say that, for example, there is a very big difference between building a community group for a company like Chaos, for example, and as an entrepreneur to build a membership and a community group. That's
mm-hmm.
different, because when we are talking about a company, the resources that that company provides you allows you to nurture your community without the paywall. That's the main difference. An entrepreneur needs to add different layers over there to grow.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, having something public is part of a marketing
Yes,
strategy because you get people. It's a way to pump interesting content, and people
yes.
get hooked on that Facebook group and get valuable information from it. maybe get interested in Enscape and V-Ray products.
Indeed, indeed, that's exactly that.
Um, I want to talk about the what I've called in the description the do's and don'ts of building a successful community. So I know I'm talking to a lot of people creating um, their Revit plugins, for example, or like startups in the BIM community, or even if you're doing just BIM consulting and you want, it wouldn't be nice to have some sort of community where you can kind of showcase and interact with the community. What's the best way to get started? Do you have, is it the group? We've talked about this already a little bit, but let's say you don't have that much resource and you want to get into the game of having a community. What's the best way to approach it?
So, if we are talking about a community online, for example, I would say that go to an event first of all and start meeting peers from
Mm-hmm.
your industry. Then take the most excited peers about what you are doing and that you are sharing a common goal. And started with those peers, the community. You start by building a group in the channel that you'd want around that topic and answering one simple problem. If you can, all of you, 15 people, started create content on that closed group to solve that problem, then you start little by little inviting people that you know from your own networks that started to be added there. And those people, they're going, if they find value over there and they see content being published and conversations happening, they are going to be also starting inviting other people. So little by little, you're going to start building this group. And I'm talking about an online group, and you keep building that content, and that's from where you start usually. It's about having the right people next to you that can start flowing the conversations. And if you think so, it is the very same thing as in person. When you organize a meetup with 5 people, those 5 people, they're going to invite their friends. And if they see something going on that meetup, conversations going on, they're going to come back and they're going to bring more people. And that's the very same online. The principle is the very same here, even without resources. The resources here are just helping to nurture a little bit more the community.
Yeah, and okay. So it's organic, you meet people, invite them.
Yeah.
And how do you make sure that the community actually stays alive? Because I know some people they have good intentions, they start a community, but it's kind of dead. How do you make sure, is it a commitment that each week or every couple of days I will publish something interesting and ask people for comments? What are your tips like to keep an
So
engaged community in that regard?
uh, my biggest advice is, especially in the very beginning, it's you having 10 to 15 people that you can keep a conversation going on the group, because that the thing is you need to lead by example. If there is one person publishing, the leader of that community, let's say, and nobody answers over there, people are going to see it as a dead group. But if you have 15 people going on over there and incentivizing others to talk and showing that something is happening there, the community is going to be kept alive. Something else also that I can advise is celebrate those members. When they arrive, actually, a few days after, invite them to introduce themselves, invite them to talk about themselves, because I can tell you most of people, they love to say at least who they are, their name,
Mm-hmm.
and what they do, and that will make them feel part of the group. But do it in a very organic way. I know that we are talking a lot about organic ways, but a community, it's not like a Facebook page that you can grow with ads. A community can only grow organically
Mm-hmm.
in order to be really alive.
Yeah, well, on the new membership that I've launched in February, there is a community. It's called the Gardens, and there is one of the board has circles. They're called different topics, and one of them is introduce yourself. And yeah, when someone gets in the membership, I say, hey, if you want, you can go introduce himself. So not everyone joining the membership are gonna use the community, and that's fine. Some of them are maybe only there for courses, but it's a way to get them to introduce yourself. And
And I would tell you something else. People, because you're telling me about courses and memberships, people usually come for the content, they stay for the people.
Yeah,
That's usually what I say, and that's what you can verify. When you think of yourself when you sign up for a course, for example, or for a membership. Let's say you're going there, you are actually connecting with the people, and that's for the people that you're staying for, that connection, not necessarily for the content, because content can be available in many places, but people, those are harder to connect with.
And okay, let's not. Why not getting some advice from you on my community? So let's say that I want to make sure I have a really active community. So people are asking questions, support questions about Revit. I share new things, but what could I do? Should I ask someone else, like to post something once a week, or hold a question of the week? Or what are some things that I could do to make sure the community is as active as it could be?
So I would say that you can find the most active members on your community to have content to nurture the others, content that can help to answer those questions. And when I'm saying content, I can tell you about the show, or I can tell you about simply once a week video where you are actually answering a Q&A in video in an engaging way, live. So people can go there and you are answering the questions that were posted there during the week in your community, and you're receiving more questions during that live. And you can even say it. Look, the questions that you are asking here are going to be answered next week or tomorrow, depending on the day that you are making that. But most importantly, you need to identify the most active members in your community, what I call the leaders of the community, or the people that can actually make the community go forward, and make them help you, collaborate with them, because those people are the ones that are going to be the most excited about helping you, either your founding members or the most active members on your community.
Yeah, nice to know. Maybe some of them are listening to the talk right now. Any of the active members of the Gardens community on the chat? Anyway, so hello if you're watching. Yeah, I like the idea of we're doing live masterclasses. They're typically about specific topic, but I've thought about doing kind of office hours, basically, like to answer questions and see what has been active on the community that week. Okay, so that's enough for my personal advice session with you. Something that I wanted to know is, so this is building communities for people outside of the organization, right? But I was wondering if you have any insights about within an organization. So let's say you have a big company, you wanted to have foster a better sense of community inside of it. So people are more interacting with one another, especially now that more people are working from home, but keeping sure that there's still an active community aspect to an organization. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yes, I would say that building a community inside of a company, it's not very different than building a community outside of a company, just that the stakeholders are different. But I would say that when you get people that are basically aligned towards one single mission, you have people that can go forward together. You can foster this sense of being part of something, of belonging, this sense of belonging. And when you have this sense of belonging and a common mission, you can get people go forward together. I think that inside of an organization, that's exactly how you can get people together. You get people that share values, that share the same type of mission, that can feel it, and then you go forward together. That's essentially what I have to say about this. I'm inside of a big company, but I work more with the communities outside of the company.
Mm-hmm. And are Chaos taking any initiatives who have committees inside of the organization as well?
Chaos. I'm not at Chaos for that long so far, but we have our own Chaos full of stars every single month. Since we travel and we are in different offices, we have the chance to connect with each other at many events, and sometimes I guess people in many big companies have the same feeling as I do, but when we connect with someone so much online, we feel like we are there with them
Hmm.
because we talk with each other quite often. So yeah, Chaos is doing quite some actions, and yeah, we are a lot of colleagues, but we are quite a strong team.
Yeah, I would be curious if
That
you're listening live in the chat, we can say what your organization is doing to foster a sense of community, especially if it's working. And we have a message from Scour DX saying you have to entice people with prize. If it's in person, it will be food and drinks. So, like, is it possible that you kind of bait people with some benefits they will get, and then they get there and they stay for the content or the community
you,
aspect of it?
you see, that's exactly. I agree over here. You need really to entice people. As I was saying you before, I was sharing exactly this. When I tell you about nurturing the community, those shows, this is actually enticing people. People are coming to the shows, and then they connect with the other peers. They see what they can gain there, and they stay. That's exactly that. In person, it can be food, it can be drinks. Online, it can be just a show, or it can be a Q&A session, portfolio review, and that's a way to nurture to the community. You need the hook. You need something to call the people there and to hook them up.
And let's say that an organization wanted to organize a live event.
Yes.
Let's say it's the BIM Pure conference. I'm not announcing today. This is fictional, but let's say we were to do it. What are the key steps or the key things I should think about, and some mistakes I should avoid when um, trying to switch from online to creating a real world event?
I would say that you need still a team to do it. You need a team around your conference, uh, a team to help you organize it, a team around your conference, and I think that's it. And you need to deal with a lot of logistics. So I'm not sure I understood your question over there.
Uh, yeah, no, it was just like the switch from kind of a online to organizing a live event. I think there's much more logistical aspects to it, and
There is.
mhm.
There is, of course, there is a lot of logistics aspects, especially when you're online. You can organize a conference or an event, and if people cannot watch it at the moment because they are in the US or in Europe, for example, here in Europe right now it's 11 o'clock, and over there in Canada it's much earlier. So people can watch it after. But when we're talking about the conference, you need to have into considerations the time zone for sure that you're organizing that conference, the location where you're organizing it, to understand what if people can travel to the conference. Back in time, we used to at Chaos, even before I started at Chaos, we used to organize total Chaos back in time, and people were coming from a little bit from everywhere to that event. During the pandemic, we organized the 24 hours of Chaos, which were connecting with people from all over the world at a different time zone, and they were joining the conference. So that was something that we organized. Nowadays we don't. We have our Chaos Unboxed. It's different from Total Chaos. But yeah, back in time we used to organize the conferences in person and then online.
um, Agustina says that, yeah, she points to a good example from Michael Kilkelly, which is running the art community. It's a free community, and he sends a weekly email with the question of the week, so a question that the member is asking in the community. And it's true. I do enjoy Michael's content. He's been on the show before from Art Smarter. So
That
good
that's
call there.
you see that's exactly a way you are providing the nurture, the hook in this case. You are providing a way for people to actually participate into the community. You need to provide them that, because you can let's put a scenario where you have 10,000 people in a group. If nothing happens there, well, if you don't
Hmm.
entice the community to actually start engaging, start to generating their own content, it will be a ghost group. Or if you are the only one posting, but your posts are news, your posts are we have done this. if you don't give away a reason for people to interact with you, they will not, or to interact with each other, they will not. They will go somewhere where they can gain that value.
Okay, so there's a program you wanted to talk about. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering in the chat if you are a visual architectural visualization artist and you're pretty proud of your renderings. There's something called the Talent League. Let's switch to your screen. There you go.
So
Can
the
you talk about
Talent
that?
League.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very excited about the Talent League. The Talent League, it's the biggest talent accelerator in the creative industry, and it's already on its fourth edition. It was organized by Trojan Horse was a unicorn and Sony back in time, and this year Chaos and THU joined forces to organize the fourth edition. The program has the duration of 1 year, and we organize it in 10 different hubs around the globe. For your audience, which I believe are coming from the US, from Canada, from these time zones, we have actually two hubs on these time zones, one in Canada and one in the US. So I want to invite your audience to apply to become a part of the Talent League and to join the mentoring over here. In order to explain you a little fast what it is, the Talent League, you have 12 weeks of mentorship and tools that are provided to the 5 selected teams. And at the end of those mentoring stages, at that mentoring stage, they have to pitch their project into a demo day event in front of a judge. And the 10 teams selected from the 10 different hubs, then they compete for the finals, and they have 4 more weeks of mentorship, and there will be a big winner, which we want to support to build a company after that, a sustainable business after that.
So this is for people specialized in architectural renderings?
So it's open for all the creative industry, not only architecture visualization, but also from gaming, from VFX. But of course, at Chaos, we are looking forward to support our fellows architecture visualization artists, since we can provide them our software, we can provide them the training as well. So yes, that's who we are looking for.
All right. So if you have visual artists for architecture or any artist, as you said, in the chat, check it out. And how can they, if people are interested, how can they know more about it?
So
Google
they
Talent
can
League.
they can access Trojan Horse was a unicorn, and the website of Trojan Horse was a unicorn, THU, and over there they're going to be finding the Talent League application form, and they can apply over there.
And what is Trojan Horse was a unicorn? That's kind of an odd name.
Oh, yeah, it's an odd name. Trojan Horse was a unicorn. It's a community. It's a community themselves, the biggest community of artists all around the globe. They organize several events, but most importantly of it, they connect with different communities around the creative industries. So THU, for example, I was telling about the bootcamp that was organized in Kaga City, the storytelling bootcamp. This was organized by THU. The Creator Circle, it's a bootcamp focused on female entrepreneurs, also organized by THU and part of our Vivid Voices program at Chaos. And you have heard me a lot talking about THU. I'm talking a lot about THU because they are our global partners at Chaos Communities, and that's why I talk so much about them. They're pretty cool folks from Portugal doing incredible things.
Can you remind us what THU stands for again? I think I forgot.
Trojan Horse.
Oh, okay,
was
that's
a
the
unicorn.
Trojan Horse. Okay, that's
yes,
the
Trojan Horse was a unicorn. Yes.
Oh, I see. Any upcoming Chaos events? Real life? Like if they wanted to catch up with you, are you traveling soon? Coming to Canada?
I will go to Canada by the end of the year, exactly for the Talent League. I will go to Canada by the end of the year. But currently, the Chaos team, not me, but the Chaos team, is participating in a lot of events in the United States, the AIA, and other events happening right now in June, the biggest events of our industry. So the Chaos team, it's on those events. About myself, I will be at more events from September, like Render It, for example, in Mexico City.
Yeah, like it's right that that's, I think that it's the AIA right now in
Yes,
BC.
exactly.
I think it started pretty much today or in the coming days.
And our
Um,
team is there. You can find the Chaos team over there, the Enscape team over there.
yeah, and also I'm yeah, at the Desk University. I'm, I can say it, pretty
Yeah.
happy to announce that my one of my sessions has been accepted, so I will be speaking at the Desk University 2024 in San Diego. Uh,
Wow.
in October. I think it's October 15 to 17. So I'm guessing you guys are going to be there.
We will definitely have our team there. Our team, we have a pretty huge team, and pretty much in every single major event from our industry, there is someone from our team. Personally, I am more involved on smaller events with the community, as I was saying. Ideally, up to 500 people, not more than that. Usually, you don't find me in bigger events because bigger event is incredible for our industry, but it doesn't provide the same level of connection with the people that you can find in smaller meetups or smaller conferences that are huge for connection, but they are not so huge in the amount of people.
Yeah, it's a great point. I'm curious to hear more. What's the difference between a big and a small event in terms of the quality of the communities? Is it
So
when it's smaller, you have more chance to connect with your peers and it feels a bit more personal?
yes, usually when you have a smaller event, at least I can tell you even on my own experience, and that's why I'm in smaller events. Smaller just in terms of the amount of attendees. I'm on smaller events. They usually you have a bigger chance to connect with the audience that is there and also with the speakers. When you have the chance to to make the speakers not be the VIPs, but actually being parts of the crowd, that's where you can find the value. And there are several events like that. Imagine a bigger meetup. Those conferences are like a bigger meetup where everyone can be part of the conversation. Of course, you have the keynotes, but then after the keynote, you can connect pretty much with the audience in a bigger way. And personally, I have been a speaker in many of those conferences, and I got to the best conversations of my life after I got out of stage. Why? Because so many people felt this easiness to approach and to talk with me and with the other speakers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so many people that have come to this show and been pure live, I've met at real events at Autodesk University or at the Build conference, and I've got to speak to them after a session of them that I watched, and that's how I've got to meet them. Or sometimes it's the other way around. I meet someone online, and then we get to meet at an actual event. Always fun, like to meet someone in person that you've known virtually for a few years. Uh, all right, so we're close to the hours. Anything else that you wanted to mention about communities?
There, I could be here the whole night talking about communities with you. I don't have anything specific that I would add over here, but I could be if I start talking, I guess we would extend the show. But I can ask you if you have anything in the comments, anyone making a comment or asking a question that wants to see answered.
Yeah, we had a few that I've talked about earlier. How trying to connect people that have common interests so people will feel comfortable. Scour DX says also you need a group where you can vent your frustration with the software.
That's needed. That's really needed. That's the thing. People need to keep authentic when they are part of the community, and that's part of it. I mean, we we cannot if we have a community where all the sentiment is positive over there, you don't have a community. You have a group of people that are just agreeing with you. You need people with diverse perspectives. You
Yeah.
need people that are having a frustration with the software, because if you have someone that is frustrated with the software, you can help them to get further and to help them to get a better experience with the software.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I'm in the community for the software, the app that I use for my membership, and it's a Facebook group. And they recently started introducing more rules because some people were talking about other services, and were kind of venting their frustration with some limitation. And I think they've blocked that, and so you can only allow to talk positively about it. And I said that's weird, it feels a bit unnatural. But is it
Exactly.
possible that it can get too toxic if there's too much negative? But it's kind of needed at the same
The,
time.
the thing is that you need to, if you look, of course, you can have 1,000 positive comments, and if you read, you are a YouTuber yourself, a creator, and sometimes you can see the toxicity sometimes in comments. But you have 1,000 positive comments and one negative. That negative will bother your day if it's something that is not constructive. But my point over here, from a software company perspective, would be, in order to improve your software, you need to understand where you need to improve it. And there is no better way to know where to improve it than your community to tell you about, because they are the real users. If we are developing a software, we can assume something that can be better, but the real users are the ones that can tell us what can we do better. And by giving their frustration with the software or the positive points, they can help us to develop a better software. And on a case of a creator, if there is any creator on your audience, when you hear about some unpositive comments, then those comments, they can become topics for your next YouTube video,
Hmm.
for example, because you can see the problems there that you can address.
Yeah, that's right. I also think that any feedback, to me, it's gold, right? Even if it's really
Yeah.
good, unless it's just trolling. But else, it tells me something I might have missed in one video, for example. If you're a software company, even if it's harsh, I think it's better than have lots of these feedback than not getting any
Yes.
feedback at all. If you're not getting any feedback, probably means that what you're doing is not that valuable in the first place. You know?
Exactly. I mean, you need feedback to go forward. We have a whole show for feedback. Keeping realistic, it's exactly all
Hmm.
about feedback.
Not really.
Feedback is very valuable to go forward.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I've never been bothered by negative comments. I wonder if it's the architecture school, being in front of a jury and defending your project and getting demolished a few times, that I've gotten a thick skin with that kind of stuff.
Well, I would tell you that more and more these kind of communication skills are getting more important. You were saying about being destroyed in front of a judge. Uh, so I guess improving your communication skills helped to present your project to the judge,
Yeah,
in
for
this
sure.
case
Yeah.
to this audience. And that's exactly one of the points that we're trying to improve with the Talent League, to help artists to develop their pitching skills, communication skills, because they are going to need it. Those entrepreneurial soft skills, they are going to need them in their career, either on their own studio or
Yeah.
when they are presenting their own projects.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, okay. So public speaking is part of that talent league too. Yeah, it's pretty important, I think,
Yes.
being able to present your ideas. Okay, so let's close the show. So I'll just mention a couple of things before letting you go. First, I forgot to announce at the beginning of the show the next episode next week at 3 p.m. What date is it? On the June 12th, with Isan Iranejad, also known as the creator of PyRevit. He's coming to the show for the first time. And
Wow.
the topic is actually not PyRevit, it is Notion. So, Notion is an app for note taking, project management, training, SOPs, standard procedures, or writing your BIM documentation. And Asan is going to come and talk about Notion. It's a highly requested topic. I'm using Notion myself. Very excited about this. And we're probably going to talk about a little bit about PyRevit too, right? So very excited about this episode next week. And a reminder Currently, the Summer of BIM, it's the sale is ending on Monday. Lots of new content, doors, new Culture Beats Technology course released tomorrow, ACC Live Masterclass. Everything is available at a single price point on the BIM Pure membership. So join now and get access to the entire catalog. There's a lot of stuff in the membership. Yeah, so check it out at bimpure.com/summer 2024. And what else? Oh, yeah, thanks to Enscape for sponsoring this episode. I love using Enscape. I'm thrilled that it's sponsoring the live show. And back to you, Claudio.
I'm here.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And I'm wondering, do you have any final words, requests to the audience before we leave?
Well, first of all, before leaving, I want to thank you once again for having me here. I know that it's a completely different topic from the show, but we are addressing exactly the people that are the most important, the community. So what I would say to your audience before leaving is that gathering with your peers and collaborating with the community is what can empower you to get further and to impact the world. By collaborating with others on your community, you can change the world. And that's exactly what we are here to empower you to.
I love it. I love this message. So thank you so much, Claudio. Thanks to everyone on the chat for your comments as usual. And we'll see you next week. Same time. Goodbye.